All right, it says we live. Shalom.
Shalom.
Bear with us. Let me check the feed real quick. All right, we live. Hey, Shalom out there.
Shalom. Shalom.
Shalom, Shalom. GMS Charlotte back at you with another live lesson through the Holy Spirit, the Qadash. And before we get started, I want to give all praise, honor, and glory to Yahweh Bahasham, Yahweh Shai, Bahasham Qadash. Double honors to the apostles and elders, a great millstone who taught us his truth. Shalom to the hopeful elect. All right. Want to get into this topic here. Me and a brother Yawan was speaking about a month ago. Finally got a chance to bring it out because we got a video clip that we want to put in just to show you that, you know, as the topic of this lesson here, the Lashawan Qadash, we are dealing with the true Paleo-Hebrew tongue. All right. We just want to prove that point based off a video that I have found about a month or so ago, dealing with the Indiana Jones Raiders of the Lost Ark, the coin that they showed in the movie that had the Paleo-Hebrew inscription on the coin. All right, so you got this Edomite who might be an Amalekite, by the way, he could be, but he actually goes into it and attempts to break it down in the Yiddish. But the point of all of that is we want to show you that despite what these people say, they scoff against us to say that we're dealing with a made-up language, you know, we're speaking gibberish and all of that bullshit. No, we want to show you that we're actually tapped into the true Paleo-Hebrew tongue, man, the Lashawan Qadash, the holy tongue. And if you got anything to say, I'll go ahead and chime in, you know.
Okay. Yeah, like pretty much you going into Zaquan, you know, we got the true Hebrew. You know, when we go into scriptures like as we got right here on the chart, all right, Zephaniah 3 and 9, it goes into a pure language. When we look at all the other languages, they all are adulterated. And I got this right here real fast.
Yep.
It says an adulterated language refers to a language that has lost its original purity, structure, or vocabulary by blending with other languages, adopting slang, or becoming diluted over time. And when you look at like English or Yiddish or, you know, any language, you know, after the Hebrew, ultimately these are impure forms. All right, they have lost its structure. Because when we look at the alphabet, all right, you got your ah, your ba, your ga, your ha, your wa, and so on and so forth. The only letter that has a different sound is going to be the I. You know, so every part of the language is set up in a specific way for a specific reason to give off that righteous vibration.
Khan, can you read that part about what you just read again? Because that made me think about the prologue in Sirach. Can you just read that one more time?
God says an adulterated language refers to a language that has lost its original purity, structure, or vocabulary by blending with other languages, adopting slang, or becoming diluted over time. It represents a shift from a pure form to an impure or inferior state, often due to foreign influence or rapid evolution.
There you go. So this is why this is written in Sirach in the prologue here. I just want to make that point because that's heavy, man. Here we go. So this is in the prologue of Sirach, right here in the middle half here. So we always start at bear with me. Where is it? Says wherefore? There you go. So it says wherefore. Here we go. Wherefore, let me entreat you to read it with favor and attention, and to pardon us, wherein we may seem to come short of some words. All right, because at this time you had the Hellenized Israelites. All right, basically slaves under the Greek Empire. They were translating the Apocrypha from the Hebrew to the Greek. Right, so this is what they're saying here. All right, here we go. Got it a little bigger here. Right, and I'll highlight it. So it says, wherefore, let me entreat you to read it with favor and attention, and to pardon us, wherein we may seem to come short of some words, which we have labored to interpret. For the same things uttered in Hebrew and translated into another tongue have not the same force in them, right? As you just read, right? It says that it says some things, the same things uttered in Hebrew and translated into another tongue have not the same force in them. It says, and not only these things, but the law itself and the prophets in the rest of the books have no small difference when they are spoken in their own language. If you want to speak on that, Ak, you know.
God says, wherefore, let me entreat you to read it with favor and attention, and to pardon us wherein we may seem to come short of some words. Because when you look at translation And transliteration, the meanings of some words can be lost, and then also how they was actually, built up. And because pretty much in Hebrew we build words, we don't spell them. Pretty much how the word is built up, it can change over time. That's why it says, wherein we may seem to come short of some words which we have labor to interpret. Because even words um for example, for lack of better examples, the word for glamorous, that goes into that derives from the word for grammar. They're both of those are related, but a slight change in that word ultimately can change, what it goes into. So the same thing in this, words can, the meaning of words and what it actually goes into can be lost, if it's translated or transliterated. That's why we got to go back, to the Hebrew, to the Greek. So it says, which we have labor to interpret, for the same things uttered in Hebrew and translated into another tongue have not the same force in them, because Hebrew is the purest form. When it's translated into another tongue, every language is a image in some way, shape, or fashion of Hebrew. But
Right.
ultimately, the true Hebrew is pure. It's going to be stronger and it's going to be more pure. It's going to have a different effect. Whereas in English or German or Dutch or so on and so forth, it's going to be more watered down. You might have to repeat something that in Hebrew you say one time and that's it. Versus like in English, you might have to say it a different way, because it's less pure. All right, and being that it's less pure, it's less. The meaning of it, it's not gonna hit as hard as it would if it was to be said in Hebrew. So
Exactly.
it says have not the same force in them, and not only these things, but the law itself and the prophets and the rest of the books have no small difference when they are spoken in their own language. And that's also why we have to go back, to the Hebrew and to the Greek to get the full contextual, to pretty much get the full context.
There you go. There you go. Beautiful.
Can
All
I read
right.
this, Corn?
Yeah, you got it, bro.
This is a screenshot. It says, in the front of most Bibles, it says something to the effect of translated out of the original tongues and with previous translations diligently compared and revised. It says this means that the sounds have changed. Excuse me, the sounds have changes, but the meaning have stayed the same. It says the Messiah's name is a perfect sound, and when you look at how everything is pretty much made up, you got the ah, the ba, all right, so on and so forth. It's supposed to keep that sound when we hear the Lord Yahweh Yahweh Shai. It's supposed to be how it sounds in that language, and it shouldn't change. So it says the Messiah's name is a perfect sound, and if you change the sound, you have changed the name. It says you cannot separate a man from his language. It says Exodus 3 and it looks like 18 tells us that the Most High is the power of the Hebrews. So that cuts, why UIC is coming out saying. It
Right.
says the Messiah even confessed his own name in Hebrew according to Acts 26:14-15. It says in Zephaniah, he told us that he will return to us a pure language that all may worship him in one consent. All right, all those of the nation of Yasharallah, the elect. It
Mhm.
says Hebrew language for this is the language he himself, excuse me, the Hebrew language for this is the language he named himself in. So pretty much the Lord has a Hebrew name.
That's right. That's right. I want to make that point, like you had made mention on IUIC. Matter of fact, before we get there, let's get that in Zephaniah. Let's read these two scriptures first. And we'll get to the video clip in a minute here, but this is Zephaniah.
I can read it, Zaquan.
You got it? Okay.
You want me to start at verse 8 or you
Oh, you can just go straight to 9. Yep.
Zephaniah chapter 3 and verse 9. It says, for them will I turn to the people a pure language, that they may all call upon the name of the Lord to serve him with one consent.
Yeah, so this is where we at now. All right. Pursuant to prophecy, Ezekiel 37, Isaiah 44, and various other prophecies, how the Lord put the breath back into us. All right. And he gave us back our heritage, he gave us back the language. You see, this is all tied into prophecy. And the Lord said that he would turn the people, the Israelites, to a pure language, which is the Lashawan Qadash, which is the true Paleo-Hebrew that we're tapping into now. All right, that they may call upon the name of the Lord, Yahweh Shemel Shai, to serve him with one consent. All right, so this is happening now. All right, and you have brothers, you got brothers that speak the Hebrew, man, that speak the Lashawan Qadash. All right, some better than others. All right, but brothers are tapping back into this thing, man, and there's no denying that. All right, read this for me, Isaiah 19 and 18. Read down to verse 20.
This is Isaiah 19 and verse 18. It says, in that day shall 5 cities in the land of Egypt speak the language of Canaan,
which is the Hebrew. All
Mhm.
right, which is the Lashawan Qadash, the Hebrew. All right, go ahead.
and swear to the Lord of hosts, one shall be called the city of destruction.
Mm-hmm.
In that day there shall be an altar to the Lord in the midst of the land of Egypt.
Right, and that altar going back to essentially the camps, the prophets, you know, making their bodies a living sacrifice, man. All right, Romans 12. Okay, that's what's going on now. Go ahead.
And a pillar at the border thereof to the Lord.
Keep going.
And it shall be for a witness. Excuse me. And it shall be for a sign and for a witness unto the Lord of hosts in the land of Egypt. For they shall cry unto the Lord because of the oppressors. And he shall send them a savior and a great one, and he shall deliver them.
There you go. Yahweh Shai, man. So the fact that you see, all right, the prophets, you know, standing up on the four corners of the earth, all right, is a sign and a witness unto the Lord. All right, and also to the land of Egypt, the spiritual Egypt, America, Babylon, man. All right, it says that for they should cry unto the Lord because of the oppressors. Who are the oppressors? The Edomites, man. All right, because the oppressors, and he shall send them a savior and a great one, and he shall deliver them. Right. So we're in that time now. Okay. And real quick, I want to make that point because you had made mention about the Hebrew, and IUIC is claiming that we just Israelites. We're not Hebrew Israelites and all of that madness. What he said, we're American Israelites, English, better to be called English Israelites or some shit like that. All right. Madness. Read this for me, Genesis 17, and read down to the point, verse 5.
Okay. Genesis 17 and verse 1, it says, when Abram was 90 years old and 9, the Lord appeared to Abram and said unto him, I am the almighty power. Walk before me and be thou perfect.
Mm-hmm.
And I will make my covenant between me and thee, and will multiply thee exceedingly. And Abram fell on his face, and the Most High talked with him, saying, as for me, behold, my covenant is with thee, and thou shalt be a father of many nations.
Mm-hmm.
Neither shall thy name any more be called Abram, but thy name shall be thy name shall be Abraham, for a father of many nations have I made thee.
Right. So I want to go into the name Abraham. All right, bear with me. Just to make a quick point. All right. Abraham. All right. It's in the Hebrew is how you say it?
Abraham.
Abraham. All right. There we go. The point, the father of a multitude or chief of multitude, it says number one, friend of God and founder of Hebrew nation. Okay. Founder, Abraham was a Hebrew. Okay. Founder of Hebrew nation via God's elective covenant. All right. So the Hebrew is tied back to the legacy. All right. You know, the legacy of who? The sons of God, man. All right. In which that legacy was restored through our forefather Abraham and down to his descendants, Isaac and Jacob, man. All right. So we are Hebrew Israelites, man. I don't know what IUIC is talking about, man. You know, and you feel free to chime in.
Could we get the term for Magog?
Yeah, let's get that. You want me to read that in Ezekiel 38?
Just the word.
Just the word? All right, here we go. So we'll hit this word Magog in Ezekiel 38 and 2. All right. All right.
It'll be inside the Strong's Jensenius.
Go down.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, keep going.
All right.
Right there.
Okay.
So it says, and should I click on the read? It says, skipping to the point right there. It says, let me see. Must have took it out. But let me see. It says the syllable ma. Well, I'm skip down. Says Chin and Mei-Chin, i.e., the Chinese. The syllable ma and these names denoting place, region, has of late been learnedly discussed by Fran de Muse and some other guy's name, but it like they took it out of here. But pretty much what it says the syllable ma. And the point that I want to get out of this is because Before it was saying like pretty much when children pretty much come of age to where they can talk, they'll say ma, or they'll say ba, stuff like that. And that's
Right.
because they come in, fresh from the spirit realm. But reason, even in here, it's some meaning there because it says the syllable ma, showing that how you pronounce each character is going to be ma, or you got ma, na, sa, I, pa. So every character other than the I is going to sound just like that. It's going to say either AH, BA, GA. It's
Right.
going to have that I sound at the end, just showing how the language is pure. There's no E's, no U's, no O's. We shouldn't even know how to make those sounds. It's
God.
supposed to be pure, and being as it's going to be pure, it's going to be back to its original form. So it's going to sound very easy to the ears.
God. Yep. All right, we get to the clip real fast. I'm just going back real quick. See if there's anything else I want to take from that. All right. Again, Abraham, friend of God and founder of Hebrew nation via God's elective covenant. All right. And who was that through? Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob. Bear with me. Abraham, the founder and father of the Jewish nation, right? The Israelite nation. The son of Terah, born in Mesopotamia, which he left as called of God, and sojourned in the land of Canaan with his flocks in a kind of nomadic life. Bear with me. The God of Abraham, for Yahweh, the seed of Abraham of the Israelites, right? Psalms 105 and 6. Real quick. This is Psalms 105 and 6. It says, O ye seed of Abraham, his servant, ye children of Jacob, his chosen. See? All right. Anyway, so let's get into the main focus of this lesson. All right. This lesson shouldn't be too long, but we pray that this lesson is also edifying, man. We just want to make the point that we are really dealing with the Lashawan Qadash, the true Paleo-Hebrew. All right. So let's go to the video. Unless you had anything else you want to add in there real quick, Op.
Nah.
Here we go. So this video is from 4 years ago. Paleo-Hebrew and Raiders, the Lost Ark, is it legit? All right. And me and the elder Monaghan from GMS Washington, D.C., we actually did a little clip on this coin as well, interpreting what was on the coin and whatnot, so want to just play this just to show you again. What you see on this coin is not Assyrian. It's not the Yiddish. It's the Paleo-Hebrew. It's the Lashawan Qadash. All right, the language that we dealing with. But anyway, let's get into it.
Shalom, welcome to Rob on the Rock. In this video, we're going to do something fun. We're going to look at the Paleo-Hebrew that appeared in the classic movie Raiders of the Lost Ark. So the other day, I watched this classic movie. It's 40 years old, Raiders of the Lost Ark. And I remembered that there's some Paleo-Hebrew writing on the medallion that Indiana Jones has to put on the staff in order to locate where the Ark of the Covenant is buried. And if you haven't seen the movie, you can check it out. It's very entertaining and imaginative, of course. And here's a picture of the scene where Indy has a local Egyptian translator help him understand the markings on the medallion. And so I have a couple shots here that I just pulled from the movie. And you can see here the Hebrew writing around the margin here in the circumference. And then he flips it over and you see the other side. So I didn't make note of the exact script that the translator provides. But what's funny is that we'll look at the Hebrew here in a minute, but it shows that he has it backwards. So in terms of the content is that the staff has to be so long, and then you turn it over, you turn the medallion over, and then it tells you to subtract a unit of measure to honor the Hebrew God whose ark this is, he says. So what's funny is that there's two things that are funny. Is first is the side that the viewer sees first is actually the statement of the subtraction. But the way it comes out in the scene is he's reading this side first that you see here, and he's interpreting it, and then he says, wait, and then he turns it over, and you see this, and he adds the information of the subtraction. Well, so first off, he should have started with this side and then said, wait, and then read this bit here. But that's not the only thing. So while this shot here, it's right side up, the second one, when he flips it, it's upside down. So he would be reading the Hebrew upside down. So it's just a fun.
Right. Not to stop it like this, but again, the point we making, man, let's go back to the original image. All right. We're dealing with the true language, regardless of what these demons, these scoffers say, man. All right. This is the same words, letters as you saw in this Indiana movie, the same as we made mention of before when we went into this topic. When you go into the 1957 movie, The Ten Commandments. All right. What did Moses have on the tablets? He had the Lashawan Qadash. Okay. He didn't have the Assyrian Hebrew. He didn't have what they would call the Yiddish. All right. He had the true tongue. All right. So what you got to say about that? All right. If you got anything, you got it. I'm about to go back and play it.
Go.
Funny quirk that, yes, there's indeed some Paleo-Hebrew on this headpiece or medallion, whatever you call it. But obviously the actor doesn't read it. And it's actually something that made it into the final edit of the movie. It's not that important. It goes by so quick that you're not going to be able to read it anyway. I actually had to pull these from a pause, obviously. But what I did some looking online, and I found someone, and sadly I can't give the credit because I don't know who did the artwork, but this might be by the original artist who designed the actual medallion. But it's a very well done image of both sides here. And again, this is one image that has both, but it's really backwards. This one here should be the one that's read first, and then it should be flipped over. And this one would be the second one that says to subtract. So with that in mind, let's just look at the Hebrew here. So it's actually more legible on the image. In this case, I'm going to change the color here so you can see. Maybe I'll use yellow. Like right here is where we're looking, and if I zoom in, you can kind of see that's actually two tavs. So it's a tav. I write a tav. Can you see that? Yeah, tav, aleph, and a Paleo-Hebrew mem, and then what looks like a Paleo-Hebrew hey, like that, but it's losing it's lost its little foot, and that's probably the artist who made it maybe didn't know what.
Right. So as he's pronouncing the letters, you can hear him. He's speaking the Yiddish. All right.
God. He said the characters he used. He said tav, aleph, and they would say mem, but there would be ta, ma, and a ha. So when you break that down, the root word is going to be ama, which goes into pretty much the arm, but an arm is synonymous with the cubit. That's how we would measure pretty much things in the ancient world with the arm, which would be going to a cubit. So pretty much it's going into it roughly translates to adapt, double, or to fit.
Heavy. What
they were doing, but it looks something like that. And then we have this other bit over here, which is blurry in this image, but it is kuf, mem, tav, vav, which I read as komato. It's height.
You want to say something on that?
Con, with this one, the the main portion of the word is going to be the kwa and the ma, and it should sound familiar, like kwawam or kwam yashar Allah. Kwam means to pretty much to raise. So this word right here will be kwamatwa. So that's going into that goes into height, and then the wa at the end makes it his. So pretty much those two sayings together will be adapt to his height.
Beautiful.
It's height, komato. And so this Hebrew reads something like, there's a couple ways we could read it. Is it tit ama, which is not even a verb, or something like this, something its height. And this is not a real verb. You could read it as tit it will be joined, or something like that, its height. But I think it's actually not Hebrew. If someone can tell me, correct me, that would be great.
Anything you want to say out?
God, could we get Genesis 6:16?
Yep, let me pull it up. All right. Yeah, we got somebody that can break it down. Right? Genesis 6:16.
God, we get the word for cubit.
All right, here we go. I'll read it. Genesis chapter 6 and verse 16, it says, a window shalt thou make to the ark, in a cubit shalt thou finish it above, and the door of the ark shalt thou set inside thereof, with lower, second, and third stories shalt thou make it. All right, so this word cubit.
So just like he said in the inside the video, you had 2,000 in the beginning. So those are pretty much like they serve as like a pre-word. I can't remember the word you say in English, but pretty much the word before the word. Like if you had like bringing, the ing is like a suffix. It's the prefix pretty much. The right. 2,000 in the beginning would be like the prefix. The main part of the word would be ama, and it says, you scroll down, Baba Kushal Zakwan?
Yep, got you.
So it says cubit. It says a measure of distance. For the measure of distance, the forearm, roughly 18 inches. There are several cubits in the Old Testament. Using the Old Testament, the cubit of a man or common cubit, the legal cubit or cubit of the sanctuary, plus others. See Bible dictionary for complete treatment. So pretty much Amma goes into right here. It says properly a mother unit of measure, or the forearm below the elbow. So that's pretty much how we will measure stuff. So when we in context of this, it's pretty much saying, adapt to the Lord's height, because scripture say, the Lord shall be magnified. So pretty much talking about, his stature, how much we should revere and glorify the Lord.
Heavy.
The writing, of course, looks really nice. And then we see this image here. It's very clear, but there is writing down here that we cannot see before this word here. So we would, again, with Hebrew, we start on the right and then we'd read around like that. So for that, I'm going to use the colored images here, the artist's representation. So this, again, I suggest is the first size, or the first side that, according to the script, he would read. It's whatever this word is here, tit ama, tav, aleph mem hey, and then komato, which is its height. And then we go here, and this is the one I think is the best looking, and it actually makes sense. It says ve'ama achat, ve'ama achat. So I'm starting here and going that way, and the first word is vav for and, ama, and then ama is a cubit. Now in the
so basically,
movie, he says kadam.
From that, they basically the same two words, because it's specifying what's being spoken about. It's talking about the glorification for the Lord. Now this is pretty much going into like the dimensions. So it says in modern Hebrew they use the wa. They say va. So that's actually a wa, and that word right there is wa ama. So it's pretty much going to and cubit. So it's specifying the cubit that's being spoken about.
Mm-hmm.
Kadam or karam. I'm not sure exactly what it is, kadam, but it's not the Hebrew. It's some sort of other word. Here it's amma, which is a cubit or 18 inches. And then it says the next word here, achat, va'ama achat. Oops, which means 1 cubit, 1 amma.
He says achat. They have a thou right there. That's just another way to say one. So the base or the regular way would be achad, but they just got a thou right there. So it's just saying the number one.
Okay, achat.
Achat.
Achat. Yep. All right.
Va'ama achat. And if you want to look at the Paleo-Hebrew, the vav looks like that. The aleph is like this. The mem looks like this, and the hey looks like this. So that's va'ama, and then achat. We have aleph, and then the chet, and then the tav. Va'ama achat. So the Paleo-Hebrew, they did a pretty good job here. And 1 cubit me'al, which is
It said
mem,
ma'el
ayin.
or me'al. That's ma'ayil. And ma is when you put it in front of a word, it goes into of or from. So ayil goes into something that's above, upon, or just something that's over something else.
Mm-hmm.
Lamed, and that's what you see right here. It's a Hebrew or Paleo-Hebrew mem, an ayin, which is just the circle, and then a lamed, ma'al. And I take that to mean v'ama achat me'al. It means, and one, in the movie he says, take back 1 kadam. But what I take it to mean is v'ama achat me'al, meaning from it, from upon it, or from its height. This is just my interpretation. I don't know the creator of this text. We have the script, and then we have some artist who did all the work for the Ark of the Covenant in the movie, etc., imagining what that would be. Then continuing on here, this is
pretty much he's saying like a lot of times Esau say he don't really understand, but he understand we got the true Paleo-Hebrew and the true understanding of it.
Yes.
Even in how he's pronouncing it, he said ma'el. That would be an I, and that would be a la, so it would be ma'ayil. That's the true pronunciation.
Heavy. Hey, we showing you. Look, we dealing with the pure language, bro. We're not dealing with. Hey, matter of fact, let me just show you real quick because I got the other alphabet up here too. All right, which is known as the so-called modern Hebrew. All right, the Assyrian text, the Yiddish. All right, we're dealing with the true language, man. As you see on the coin, as you saw, as I made the example earlier, with the 10 Commandments. Okay, ain't nothing you people can say to us, man. Right, let's finish it out.
Can I add to your points, Zaquan?
Yeah, you got it.
When I went to this alphabet museum, and the lady that was in there, she was a so-called missionary, and one of the points that she added was that ultimately to make other languages, they have to go back to the scriptures. They got to ultimately go back to the Paleo-Hebrew in order to make the symbols and the sounds. All right, but even with the one we had on the screen, you had the Paleo, and then you had the Assyrian. The Paleo and Assyrian. But when you look at both of them, the Assyrian is just a deformed way of looking at the Paleo. Because if you got 3 lines in the ah, and then down here you got 3 lines in the ah. When we go to the ba, all right, you got 1, 2, 3, 4. You got 3 on the bottom one, so they just removed something. Or the ga, they just added a line to that one. So it's not like new languages is being created. It's just that they're deforming what's already created. All right, and not only how it looks, but then also the sound. So it's to ultimately push forth deception. Because going back to the screenshot that we had got, they said if you change the sound, you change the name. So if you change the sound, you change the name. But then also, if you change how it looks, it also it dilutes it. You know, so it's not as pure. So and the heathen ultimately understand that's pursuant to Judith the 5th chapter. If they can keep us from ultimately serving the Lord, they're gonna be on top.
That's
You know,
it.
but
That's
the
it.
Lord said that He's returning that pure language. You know, because the Lord is ultimately restoring the judges as at the first. You know, Isaiah 1:26.
Yep. I want to add on to what you said. That's beautiful, bro. That's what Psalm. Let's pull that up real quick. Psalm was it 62:4? All right, because that's the desire of the heathen. All right. Psalm 62:4 says they only consult to cast him down from his excellency. All right. So, like you were saying, even when you read about the crafty counsel in Psalms 83, it was all about keeping us hidden away from our true identity. All right. This is why when they put us in captivity, what did they do? They beat our language out of us, man. They beat our culture, they beat our heritage. All right. They took everything from us. All right. Because once we were in line, as you were making mention in that Judith the 5th chapter, these nations know once we're in line with our power, we became victorious, man. All right. And it was always a repeated pattern. All right. I was reading about that a little earlier. You know, the heathen knew. Matter of fact, let me read it instead of just quoting it real quick, because I had something lined up for a little lesson to go into that. So that's the spirit that you even brought that up. So hold on one second, because this is real heavy. I got this from the chat. And we'll get back to the video. Just want to make a quick point. All right, let me copy and paste it and send it over here on this platform here. All right, so here we go. So I have put in real fast the scripture he was quoting in Judith the 5th chapter, verses 17 through 18. So I put I said, how did the heathen enemies know this? All right. Matter of fact, let me just read the whole thing. So this is Judith 5:17. It says, and while they sin not before their power, they prosper because the Most High that hateth iniquity was with them. Verse 18. But when they departed from the way which he appointed them, they were destroyed in many battles very sore, and led captives into a land that was not theirs. And the temple of their power was cast to the ground, and their cities were taken by the enemies. And I said, how did the heathen enemies know this? Right. So this is what it says. So it says in this chapter, there's actually, I say his name, a core, the Ammonite, speaking to Holofernes, the general of Assyria under Nebuchadnezzar, as presented in Judah's narrative. Echor explains Israel's history to warn them not to attack unless Israel has sinned against their power, right? So how did the heathen enemies know this? There are several layers to the answer. It says, number one, Israel's history was public and visible. Israel's blessings and judgments were not hidden. When they obeyed, they prospered visibly, victories, stability, wealth. When they sinned, they were conquered, exiled, temple destroyed, right? Events like the fall of Samaria to Assyria, 722 BC, destruction of Jerusalem and the temple by Babylon, 586 BC. These were major geopolitical events known across the Near East. Other nations saw the pattern. See that? So I thought that was real heavy, man. So they saw the pattern. When we were in line with the Most High, we prospered, victories, stability, and wealth. When we went off and broke the commandments, right? When we sinned, we were conquered, exiled, and temple destroyed. So like we just read in Psalm 62 and verse 4, all right, they only consult to cast him down from his excellency, man. These heathen, all right, they know when we're not in proper alignment with our power, they have the ability to continue to reign over us, man. This is why it's been a fight, you know, especially in this time now of keeping us away from the truth of who we are, you know, giving us these different religions, these different doctrines to keep our people, you know, lost astray, you know. So I thought that was heavy, you know. So let's go back. Okay. Let's go back. Not to rant. You got anything else you want to add in there real quick,
Nah.
All right, here we go.
probably, to me, the most interesting bit is this last piece here. And it's, I'm just going to go like this so you can follow me along here. So this is Kuf Dalet Shin. So I'm just going to transliterate it. That's a Kuf Dalet Shin. And that's the word Kodesh or Kadosh or holiness. And then we come over to the next side and we have Kaf Bet Dalet, which I'm going to vocalize with a holem there, Kavod in construct.
Yeah, and
Kavod.
the
And then we have,
like as he's going into, they pretty much adding the what's known as the Masoretic vowel points. That also goes into how they want to deceive as well, and which I think that Masoretes added it around about like the 6th to 10th century CE, if I'm not mistaken. But the words that he's going into is Qadash and then Kabad, in which Qadash goes into holy, and then Kabad is like heavy or glory. It goes into glory specifically for this one, but so far we got Tata Ama Kwamatwa, which is adapt and then his height. So adapt to his height. All right. Then it says Wa'ama Achat, which is and cubit one. So 1 cubit. And it's Ma'ayel. And Ma'ayel goes into above and upon. And then we got Qadash and Kabad. So reading it all out thus far, it would be adapt to his height, 1 cubit, or excuse me, and 1 cubit above or upon holy honor. So yeah, holy and honor. The Qadash goes into holy, and then the Kabad goes into the honor.
Beautiful. And I got you real quick on the Masorite vowel points too. Let me pull that up. All right. So I put that in too. The Masorite vowel points are not part of the Paleo-Hebrew. It says you're correct. The Masoretic vowel points are not part of Paleo-Hebrew. Here's the breakdown clearly. Number one, Paleo-Hebrew script used by ancient Israelites before the Babylonian exile, visually similar to the Phoenician script. Contain only consonants like all early Semitic scripts.
Right. So it says contain only consonants. So when we look at words like contain only, and contain and then consonants. So pretty much the consonants is just the letter itself. All right. Con means with. So con, the o would be a vowel. So the consonants is just, it's a language that only stands, with the consonants, because they have the Lord set up to where the sounds is already in it. Like in the Lord's name, Yahweh.
That's right. Going down here. Number two, Masoretic vowel points developed much later, roughly 6th to 10th century CE. It says created by the Masoretes, particularly the scribal tradition of the Tiberius. It says added dots and dashes above and below letters to preserve pronunciation, right? But that's what alters the word. It says, so that's bullshit. It says, found in the standardized Hebrew Bible known as the Masoretic text. All right. But see, there wasn't any Masoretic vowel points in the Paleo-Hebrew as we're showing you here, man. Prime example. Again, the 10 Commandments. You don't see no Masoretic vowel points in those inscriptions, man, because that shit wasn't around. Moses didn't speak the Assyrian, the Yiddish. All right. He spoke the Paleo, the Lashawan Qadash. Right? As we're seeing here. Let's go back.
I got 2 scriptures, Aquan.
Yeah, go ahead, bro. I'll pull them up.
Can we get Jeremiah 6:16, and then also 2 Kings 22:14?
Got you. Jeremiah 6:16, and what was the other one? 2 Kings what?
22 and verse 14.
2 Kings 22 and 14. All right, so here's the first one. Jeremiah 6:16, and it reads, it says, thus saith the Lord, Yahweh Shemel Washai, stand ye in the ways and see, and ask for the old paths, where is the good way, and walk therein, and ye shall find rest for your souls. But they said, we will not walk therein.
Right. So, that old way ultimately goes into, without all those vowel points, because how it ultimately was written ultimately was just like this. You got down to the thigh. You know, there was no vowel points or anything of that nature. Everything pretty much was passed down, you know, through the righteous lineage.
That's right. 2 Kings 22:14, it says, so Hilkiah, the priest, and Ichem, and how you say his name?
Akbor,
and Shaphan, and Isaiah went to Huldah, the prophetess, the wife of Shalom, the son of Tikvah, the son of Huras, keeper of the wardrobe. Now she dwelt in Jerusalem in the college, and they commune with her.
Could we get the word for college?
Yep.
And the word is going to go into, it says Mashana. All right, and the thing about Shana means to duplicate or to double. So pretty much that's where, you know, the records of everything was kept, you know. And just like today's colleges, you know, today's colleges is they don't really teach anything in there, but the colleges that we had back, you know, in the homeland, pretty much it was pretty much where the records could be kept. All right, and this knowledge was passed down. You know, some of those things will be, you know, pronunciation, our history, and things of that nature. It wasn't like the thing said. It said to preserve pronunciation, but that's what they said. You know, our pronunciation, we had a specific way that we had. All right, and it wasn't with the dots and the points and stuff like that. You know,
facts, big facts. All right, here we go. Let's see if there's anything else from there. Yeah, Paleo-Hebrew, pre-exile, ancient Hebrew script, no vowel points. All right, post-exile, square script, Aramaic derived Hebrew, still no vowel points. Masoretic tradition, same square script, vowel points added. A little bit more. It says important context. The original Hebrew Bible manuscripts were written without vowel markings. See?
Mm-hmm.
Hebrew readers knew pronunciation through oral tradition. As you were just saying, the Masoretes later preserved that tradition by adding vowel points, right? Man, it says, so if someone claims the vowel points are original to Moses or early Israel, that would not be historically accurate. See that? That's a cut, man. All right. And that's it. Let's go back. We're almost there.
Or Kadosh, or holiness. And then we come over to the next side and we have Kaf, Bet, Dalet, which I'm going to vocalize with a cholim there, Kavod in construct, Kavod. And then we have the tetragrammaton here, Yod, He, Vav, He. So Yod, He, Vav, He. Kavod Adonai, the glory of the Lord. So something like Kadosh, Kavod Adonai, the holiness of the glory of the Lord. And then we have the last bit. See if I can write upside down here. Another Vav, Ve, Ha.
So right now we have what? Qadash, right? Qadash, Kabad, Yahweh.
Mm-hmm.
Right?
Stuff that I'm trying to draw upside down. Mem, Shin, Kaf, and then a Nun. Vehamishkan, and the tabernacle. So we have Kavod Adonai. Now I should say here. Oops, let me write that a little bit over here. In the scripture, we never see Kavod Adonai written like this. It's always written with the full spelling. So there'll be a Vav here, Kavod. But technically, it doesn't have to be. We could read it as Kavod Adonai, the glory of the Lord, Veha Mishkan, and the tabernacle. So it's just a fun thing. I was watching this movie. It's 40 years old. It's an adventure about a biblical item, right? The Ark of the Covenant. And then there's this medallion. Of course, this medallion is not in the Bible or anything like that. But I just wanted to look at the artist's work here, what he or she created. And it looks like they did refer to some sort of Paleo-Hebrew alphabet. There is some good knowledge of Hebrew here, and but it does not correspond with the way the images came in order on the movie itself. On the movie itself, it should have been this side first, properly though, with the eagle right side up rather than upside down, in terms of the measurement of its height. And then when he says, wait, you must take back one kadam, then he would have should have flipped it over to this side. But this is the right side up, at least. The eagle or this bird is the right side up. So this was fun. It was a classic movie in the 80s, of course. It did well, and it had this biblical adventure associated with it. But of course, they took a little from the Bible and then took off from there. So it's not historically accurate, of course, or anything. But this was fun to look at how Hebrew and Paleo-Hebrew is represented in the movies 40 years ago in 1981. Hope this was enjoyable to you, especially if you're a fan of Indiana Jones. Sure.
Yeah, so that's pretty much the point. That's the same purpose of us doing this lesson, man. We just want to show you that we are dealing with the Lashawan Qadash. Now, the whole thing, if I can read it out, was it Kwamathwa?
It's Tata Ama Kwamatwa.
Yep.
Wa Ama Achat Ma'ail Qadash Kabad Yahweh Waha Mashakan. And that pretty much that loosely translate, it will going to fit to his height, 1 cubit upon holy honorable Yahweh and the tabernacle.
There you go. Heavy, man. Heavy. You know, so yeah, that's pretty much the point of that video. You know what I'm saying? Just wanted to show y'all all that's tuning in that we are really dealing with the Paleo-Hebrew, man. All right. Now, real quick before we wrap this up, let's play that video about the Yiddish, showing you that that's not the true language as we played it before. All right. Where is it at? Bear with me. Do I gotta pull it up? Oh, here we go. All right, is it gonna play? Hold on. Hold on 1 second. Trying to get it to play. Why is it not playing?
The question we've been trying to answer is a question that has been under debate for the past couple of decades, mainly between linguists, that question is the origin of Yiddish language. Now, Yiddish is a language that consists of German, Hebrew, and Slavic elements written with Aramaic letter, and it has been spoken since the 9th century. The prevailing view is that Yiddish is an old German dialect, where the alternative view is that Yiddish is a Slavic language that used to have Slavic words and grammar.
Yeah, so the point is that these people that proclaim to be the true biblical Israelites, all right, the tiny tops, they speak a language that's mixed of German, Slavic, Hebrew, and some other shit, man. All right?
Slavic words and grammar. But over time, it shaded its Slavic lexicon and adopted German words, while retaining the Slavic grammar. In a sense, Yiddish speakers sounds like Yoda from the Star Wars universe. Yoda's language also consists of words in English, real and made-up one, like Wookiee and Jedi, but the grammar is off. Yiddish also consists of 251 words for just buy and sell, suggesting it was invented by traders. Language, geography, and genetics are all connected. The further I move away from England, the more dissimilar the DNA and languages of the people.
Hey, did he say that the language was invented by traders?
Yeah.
That's crazy, man.
that I will encounter will become. So if we have a tool that converts genetics into geography or languages, we can find our answer. Fortunately, in 2014, we published the Geographic Population Structure, or GPS tool, that does exactly that. GPS converts DNA information into geography. So to answer the hypothesis of where Yiddish speakers came from, we applied GPS to the genome of Yiddish speakers to find where their DNA is from. Surprisingly, GPS took us to northeastern Turkey. At first, we did not understand the result, but when we looked at some old books, we found 4 ancient villages named Ishkenaz, Eskenaz, Ashanaz, and Ashkuz, names that may be derived from the word Ashkenaz. This place resides on a hub of trade networks. This is where Silk Roads and other trade routes converge. We speculated at that time Iranian traders, Iranian Jewish traders flying the Silk Road, moving merchandise from east to west.
Right, and this shows you that these Yiddish-speaking people are not from the Holy Land, man. Right, they have nothing to do with the land of Israel. All right, let that sink in.
From Asia to Europe, identified this region and made it their center. They converted the local population, and to maintain their monopoly on trade, they invented a secret language, one that only Jews can speak, while they remain conversant in all other languages.
Hey, that's heavy. From Elder Malcolm, he said that the Khazars were traders. They dealt with Moab a lot. Moab referred to them as the name stealers. Ooh, it's heavy. Man, the water, Zaquan.
With their secret language, they could move all their merchandise back and forth and move information between East and West to maintain their monopoly. Shortly after they invented the language, they relocated. The young Ashkenazic Judaism was relocated to Khazaria, and some 500 years later, when Khazaria was destroyed, they moved to Eastern Europe. At that time, the network collapsed, and Ashkenazic Jews separated from their brethren of the Iranian Jews, and the two populations went their separate ways. Yiddish was stopped being used as a trade language and was now start accumulating words in German while retaining the Slavic grammar. Our results are consistent with the Slavic hypothesis, suggesting that Yiddish has a Slavic origin, and that it has originated in ancient Ashkenaz that is located in northeastern Turkey. By applying GPS to the genome of Yiddish speakers, we were able to find ancient Ashkenaz and villages where the DNA of Yiddish speakers has originated probably over 1,500, 2,000 years ago. The search for ancient Ashkenaz has been going on for about maybe over 1,000 years. And now we believe we found it.
Yeah, that's it. So I just wanted to replay that. You got anything you want to add in there, Ak?
La.
All right, so let's go to real quick and we'll wrap this up. Just want to make all the little points. I got a lot of tabs open, bear with me. All right. But again, the point we're making is that we have the language, we have the tongue. Let's go to Genesis 11 real fast. All right. And let's read Genesis 11 and let's read 1 through 3 down to
verse 9
to 16.
16.
Yep. So you got
Okay.
it.
Genesis 11 and verse 1. It says, "And the whole earth was of one language and of one speech."
One language of one speech. And what was that? The Hebrew, man. All right. Everyone spoke Hebrew. Go ahead.
"And it came to pass as they journeyed from the east, that they found a plain in the land of Shinar, and they dwelt there. And they said one to another, Go to, let us make brick and burn them thoroughly. And they had brick for stone, and slime had they for mortar. And they said, Go to, let us build us a city and a tower whose top may reach unto heaven, and let us make us a name, lest we be scattered abroad upon the face of the whole earth. And the Lord came down to see the city and the tower which the children of men builded. And the Lord said, Behold, the people is one, and they have all one language, and this they begin to do, and now nothing will be restrained from them which they have imagined to do."
Yeah, so at this time, this is where this is like them trying to push a new world order back then. All right, merging the idols of the nations together, becoming one people and all of that. All right, this was the first attempt. Go ahead.
It says, "Go to, let us go down, and there confound their language, that they may not understand one another's speech."
Mm-hmm.
So the Lord scattered them abroad from thence upon the face of all the earth, and they left off to build the city.
Mm-hmm.
Therefore is the name of it called Babel, because the Lord did there confound the language of all the earth, and from thence did the Lord scatter them abroad upon the face of all the earth.
Yeah, so the Most High, he did confound. He did confound the nations, the languages and stuff, but he left a remnant to continue on the pure tongue. All right. Basically, the language was preserved. All right. Let's read on.
I got a quick precept if I can.
Yeah, go ahead.
This is Genesis chapter 10 and verse 25, and it says, I get it in the NLT, and it says, Genesis 10 and 5 NLT, and Eber had two sons. The first name was Palag, which means division. For during his lifetime, the people of the world were divided into different language groups. His brother's name was Joktan. And pretty much the point that I wanted to get was, at a certain period of time, Genesis 11 and Genesis 10 is concurrent, because during the time of Genesis 11 is, when Peleg was walking the earth, pretty much that's when everybody went to their respective lands and had they named, or not the names, the languages and so on and so forth, as we read in Genesis the 10th chapter.
Right. There you go. You got it out.
Okay. Verse 10, Genesis 11 and 10. These are the generations of Sham. Sham was 100 years old and begot Arphaxad 2 years after the flood. And Sham lived after he begot Arphaxad 500 years and begot sons and daughters. And Arphaxad lived 35 years and begot Salah. And Arphaxad lived after he begot Salah 403 years and begot sons and daughters. And Salah lived 30 years and begot Eber, or what's known as Hebrew.
Yep.
It says, and Salah lived after he begot Eber 403 years and begot sons and daughters. And Ibar lived 34 years and begot Peleg.
Yeah. So the point is that, again, the language at that time was preserved, through Eber or Ibar, hence Hebrew Ibaryah. Right. Eber, or it says Eber or Heber, the region of beyond. All right. I just want to see what else was in here. All right. Bear with me. All right. But the point I'm making is that the language, the Hebrew language, the Lashawan Qadash, was preserved. All right. Through the chosen line. All right. The prophets were Hebrews, as we read dealing with Abraham. I got one real quick too. Just thinking out loud. Was it Romans 11 and 2, 1 and 2? All right, Romans 11 and 1. I say then, have the Most High cast away his people? God forbid. For I also is an Israelite. For I also am an Israelite of the seed of Abraham, of the tribe of Benjamin. All right. Paul also said that he was a Hebrew of the Hebrews as well. Let's get this one in was it Jonah? Right. Jonah 1 and 9. All right, Jonah 1 and 9. He said unto them, I am a Hebrew, and I fear the Lord, Yahweh Shem Yahushua, the power of heaven, which made the sea and the dry land. All right, let's get another one. All right. 2 Corinthians 11 and 22. Yep. 2 Corinthians 11 and 22. Are they Hebrews? So am I. Are they Israelites? So am I. Are they the seed of Abraham? So am I. All right. This is Apostle Paul speaking. All right. Let me get one more. All right. Speaking out loud, just, various scriptures. All right. All right. This is Acts 26. All right. Straight to the point. Verse, I started 13. Acts 26:13. At midday, O king, I saw in the way a light from heaven, above the brightness of the sun shining round about me, and then was journey with me.
Let me read it, Zaquan.
Yeah, you got it.
Verse 14. And when we were all fallen to the earth, I heard a voice speaking unto me and saying in the Hebrew tongue, Saul, Saul, why persecutest thou me? It is hard for thee to kick against the pricks.
Yeah, so Yahushua spoke the Hebrew. He was speaking to Saul before his name was changed to Paul. All right, but the point I'm bringing that out is that the prophets are Hebrews, man. They spoke the Hebrew. All right, just like us coming back to our heritage and nationality now in these last days, man. As we read earlier in Zephaniah 3 and was it 3 and 9, that I would turn them to a pure language. All right, so there's no denying, okay, after everything we went through in this lesson here, that we are, speaking the true tongue. All right, we got the true language, man. That's pretty much all I had. Not to be long-winded. But yeah, that's all the points I made, man. We pray that this lesson was edifying, man. Just to show you that, this video was pretty dope. You know what I'm saying? Dealing with the Indiana Jones coin, whatnot. So it is what it is. Anything else? That's pretty much it.
No, I have none.
Yeah, that's it, man. So yeah, we'll leave it like that. I pray that this lesson was edifying, not all over the place, But yeah, with that, we're gonna close it out by giving all praise, honor, and glory to Yahweh Bahasham, Yahweh Shai, Bahasham Rakak Qadash, a double honors to the apostles and elders, a great millstone who taught us his truth, and shalom to the hopeful elect.
Shalom.
Shalom. Hey, the water, brother.